Alright, what's going on YouTube? We're back with some more Baldur's Gate 3 mod videos. This time we're going to be taking a look at another spell pack from Dawnstar. This is going to be including 3 cantrips and 11 necromancy spells that can be used by bards, warlocks, sorcerers, clerics, knights, and wizards. If you haven't seen the other spell packs that I've covered from the same author, I'll leave them in the description down below. So we're going to go ahead and cover the cantrips and the spells, and then we're going to show off a little bit of the animations and the effects that they have, because they are brand new effects. And then we're going to go into a combat scenario as always. So we're going to start off with Pain Puppet. This is the first cantrip that you get. This does 3d6 piercing and 3d6 necrotic damage. Summon a doll woven with dark magic, stabbing it to harm a target of your choice. If you have Blood Offering, you inflict bleed. A target with more than half its hit points takes additional 3 to 12 necrotic damage, and 3 to 12 slashing damage instead. So if you wonder what Blood Offering is, don't know why the inspect isn't working. There we go. So Blood Offering. A Blood Offering has been made reflect 2 to 8 necrotic damage back at the melee attackers once per turn if they deal physical damage as long as they're within 3 meters. So if someone is within 3 meters, you use Pain Puppet, it will basically do additional necrotic damage as well. Moving on to the second cantrip, we have Bone Dust Tongue. Exhales cursed smoke affecting up to 3 targets, prevents healing, and if targets have Pluck Life, you regain half damage dealt back as hit points. And what is Pluck Life? When this creature dies from necrotic damage, the killer gains 3 to 4 hit points. That's going to be another cantrip that we're going to be showing off here shortly. What you can see is Pluck Life. Mark a living target's soul when they die from necrotic damage. The killer regains 3 to 4 hit points. This is used as a bonus action. So typically, if you know you're going to be killing a target relatively soon, you want to use Pluck Life, and then you can hit them with Bone Dust, and that gives you half of your hit points from the damage that you've dealt. So these are cantrips. These will scale as you level up. Alright, so going over the spells, we have our first level 1 spell called Witch's Spill. Drop a steel beating heart into a cauldron brimming with necrotic fluid, causing it to erupt in a surge of cursed fluid. Creatures caught in the eruption will potentially suffer disadvantage on Constitution saving throws, disadvantage on attack rolls. The next level 1 spell we have is called Seance. Initiate a seance to conjure a malevolent spirit and hurl it towards a target. The spirit weaves around obstacles to reach its mark. On a failed saving throw, the target becomes haunted, attacks against it have advantage, and its movement speed is halved. Next up, we have Blood Offering. Sacrifice a portion of your own health, taking 2 to 8 necrotic damage. Melee attackers within 3 meters who deal physical damage to you take the same amount of damage once per turn. While active, you'll gain the spell Death Dagger, and we'll go over Death Dagger a little bit later. The next spell is a level 2 spell, Soul Prism. Trap some of the essence of a fresh corpse into a crystal that floats above you, granting you 10 temporary hit points. When temporary hit points are depleted, the prism shatters, releasing its essence to heal allies within 3 meters for 2 to 16 points. Next up is called Soul Bomb. This is going to be our first level 3 spell. Hurl a necrotic-infused corpse that explodes on impact at a 3 meter radius, and again at the start of your next turn, dealing 3 to 24 necrotic damage to enemies within 3 meters. Next up, we have Death Ray. Channel a beam woven from Death's Echo. If the target dies, the ray splits into strike an additional enemy. Targeting the corpse leaves it untouched, but its lingering essence amplifies the ray erupting towards a nearby enemy for 6 to 48 necrotic damage. So essentially, if you target someone that's on the living, it does your standard damage, but if you target a corpse, it will amplify that and target onto the next enemy. Now, I believe there may be a bug to where this targets allies. I haven't seen it just yet, but I will mention if it happens in a combat scenario. Next up, we have Mortalis Aeternia, and I butcher that, and I apologize. It's going to be our level 4 spell. Soul crystals surround a fresh corpse in a 2 meter radius. While inside, you gain maximum healing and necrotic resistance. And enemies attacking, you have disadvantage on their attack rolls. So essentially, if you're by a nearby corpse, you want to use this, and will give you the benefits of having maximum healing and necrotic resistance. Next up, we have Storm of Souls. Summon a 3 meter storm of spectral skeletons. Each round, the storm surges, dealing 4 to 32 necrotic damage, and risk enemies becoming maimed. While inside the storm, you gain resistance to radiant damage, your attacks ignore necrotic damage, and you cannot be frightened. So hopefully maimed shows up. I know some of the flavor text has not been working correctly, so maimed. Which happens to be something that's unfortunately not working correctly. I believe maimed just means like they take a little additional bleeding damage. I'm not 100% sure. I'll try and follow up on that and leave it in a comment down below. So moving on from that, we have Death March. Target up to 4 corpses. A necrotic rift opens above each one. The corpse decayed matter is consumed to forge a spectral skeleton that rises to fight for you. So essentially, you can use this. You can target up to 4 corpses, and you'll have 4 skeletons fighting for you. Very useful spell. It is a level 5 spell, and it's pretty useful if you have like a bunch of enemies that you've already killed and you just want some reinforcements. So it's going to be a potentially good solo class depending on how many enemies that you can kill before you use this spell to resurrect some allies. Next up, we have Gravebinder. Enemies that fail a saving throw become gravebound. They temporarily lose quarter of their hit points and have disadvantage on attack rolls, and attack rolls against them have advantage. When they die, the killer gains 2 to 16 points of health and gains advantage on their next attack roll. So let's see if we actually see what Gravebinder does here. A little bit more of the flavor text. Gravebound. This creature hits points a quarter and is disadvantaged on attack rolls, and attack rolls against them have advantage. When they die, the killer regains 2 to 16 hit points and gains advantage on their next attack roll. So that's Gravebound. So after that, we have our level 6 spell, Final Offering. Lay down your life and reshape the battlefield. After the sacrifice, you collapse with only 1 HP for 3 turns until you pull your essence back together. During this time, you cannot move or take action, bonus action, or reaction, and have disadvantage on all saving throws. Enemies attacking you have advantage. I'm not exactly sure what Final Offering does. We're going to try and test it in a combat scenario. This is just Circle of Death. That's a Videla spell. So I believe it just gives you a very huge buff. Once you get past the 3 turns, we'll definitely get to test it and see what happens, because I haven't really been able to test this particular out one just yet. We're going to go into a combat scenario. We're going to go a little bit slow and kind of explain the spells as we use them, and just kind of see the effects that happen. So before into the combat, I did promise I was going to showcase some of the new animations for the abilities. So this is going to be for Pain Puppet. As you can see, it does something like a little voodoo doll. Bone Dust. Pluck Life.
Is life but a waking death, or what doth it serve?
Witch's Spell. Blood Offering. Seance. Soul Bomb. Soul Prism. Death Ray.
And 13 more.
Mortalis Aeternia? I'm butchering that and I apologize. Storm of Souls. Death March. Gravebinder. Final Offering. Now we have Final Offering Ascension. Let your spirits unravel in a luminous storm, mending the living with the power of your sacrifice. Each ally is healed for an amount equal to your maximum hit points and gain additional action. So this is what we have for the Final Offering. So actually you have 3 Final Offerings. This I didn't know. The second one is Final Offering Oblivion. Rend your soul apart in a chasm of death. Your body erupts in a violent surge of necrotic damage, annihilating all nearby enemy creatures, all nearby living creatures with the full force of your unbound essence. So this basically does 10 to 100 damage of necrotic damage. And then finally we have Final Offering Dreadwake. Offer your soul to the void, and in your final breath release a wave of silent dread. Enemies become feared, overwhelmed by the truth of their own mortality. So basically this causes widespread fear for your final sacrifice. Just kind of show off the effects of each one. Like they each have their own flavored skeleton color. So yeah, I think the really fun thing about these spell packs from Dawnstar is that they take the time to actually put in additional animations and assets, which is really, really cool. You don't see a lot of the other spell packs do that as often. So that's it for like the overall look at the animation of the spells. Now we're going to go into a combat scenario, and I'm going to try to explain the spells as I use them. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with... Try and get a little bit closer here. Or matter of fact, what we can do is we can do Pluck Life on this person here. And then combination of that, we can use Bone Dust Tongue. As you can see there, we got some additional HP back because we used Bone Tongue and we marked the target with Pluck Life, which gives us that additional health back when we use that ability. All right, so what we can try and do next is we don't have a corpse, unfortunately, because that one's too damaged. What we could try and do is use Death Ray. Okay, so he wasn't able to kill with that, but that's fine. Not really much else we can do. A lot of this relies on us being able to kill targets on hand, which we can do. It just takes a little bit of practice going into it. All right, so what we can try and do now is, fortunately, we don't have any corpses. Then we have the Solar Storms, which is essentially just like I guess like the dagger spell. I'm drawing a blank right now, but it does damage over time, which is really good. And again, unfortunately, because we do like a lot of the chronic damage, we are damaging some bodies here. So what we're gonna try and do is kill someone with Shadow Heart. Let them go ahead and take someone out. So hopefully we can get a corpse to kind of show up some of the other spells. So we can try to do like a melee attack here. There we go. So now we just have some fresh bodies here. Soul Prism. So now we have the Soul Glass effect. And that gives us 10 temporary hit points. When they're depleted, they actually give an additional 2 to 16 hit points for allies that are around. So that kind of shows off one of the other spells that we have. I'm going to try and show up a few more. Again, the combat scenarios are a little bit difficult to showcase sometimes, depending on how the rolls go, but that's fine. We can actually target up a couple other corpses here. We can reuse the same corpse. Let's see if we have one more that we can use. That one might be too damaged. Nope. Okay, that one actually works. So now we have 3 of our bone people here. Level 5, only 15 hit points, but it's extra allies that we get to use. Those do destroy the corpses, however, so be mindful of that. Alright, so we haven't showcased Gravebinder. Enemies that fail a saving throw become Gravebound, so we can try and use it on...
Don't waste a step.
Alright, so now they've been Gravebound, so we can take a look at that. This creature's hit points are quartered and has disadvantage on attack rolls, and attack rolls against them have advantage. When they died, the killer regains 2 to 16 hit points and advantage on their next attack roll. So they've a disadvantage now, have advantage on attacks against them. Basically just a pretty good debuff. And so just to show the effects of the final offering, we are going to do... So now at that point, we have 3 turns, essentially, that we're down, I believe. And really not much else we can do. As you see, we came back with full health. So essentially you get one final attack, and then you'll be down for 3 turns. This class is pretty... Or not class, I'm sorry, but these spells are pretty interesting. They can do quite a bit. See if I can show off the Mortalis. So there we go. Now we have the Concentration Mortalis. Which, if we switch over to Shadow Heart, we see that she gains maximum healing and necrotic resistance. So now our healing does the maximum amount, which makes it a lot stronger than it was earlier. So again, this class is pretty good on damage and then some support for necrotic assist. I would say it's definitely not something you can solo, but it's pretty good overall, and it kind of fits into the theme of like the more necrotic classes, or like if he plays like a Death Domain. A lot of these abilities, I believe, do stack with that, as they are like necrotic abilities. So have fun, play around with it. I think it's pretty cool. Definitely would be a spell that I will have to my mod list moving forward, just because I think it adds like a lot of cool stuff. There is some stuff I didn't get to show off, which I'll try and show off here next time. Alright, so you know this creature's about to die, but at least here I can show off Blood Offering. As you can see, we did our Blood Offering, and now for the next 10 turns, we reflect 2 to 8 necrotic damage at attackers that are, or attacks that are dealt to me. So hopefully this person comes and attacks me, and we can show that off. You see at the bottom here, we have Death Dagger. Stab a target with a dagger formed from your own life force. You gain half the damage dealt back as hit points. If the target is affected by Bone Dust Tongue, you regain another additional hit points equal to your spellcast modifier. So this is where like a lot of these spells or abilities kind of combo into each other. They kind of give you back maximum hit points, do additional necrotic damage, so on and so forth. We're just going to skip our turns here. Unfortunately, it seems like it didn't work with the physical damage. I'm not exactly sure if that counts as physical damage. I assumed it did, but I guess not. But we did have the Death Dagger, which is a bonus action. So if we do something like Bone Dust here, assuming it doesn't kill. And now they're affected by the Bone Dust Tongue. While it did only do 1 damage, we did get those 5 hit points back. So again, those spells just kind of combo into each other. And make you a little bit stronger. But I guess maybe it did work. I did see the 2 points of necrotic damage that happened to the Thorn here, or the Shadow Creeper. And then we have Witch's Spill, and then we have Soul Bomb. So Witch's Spill. And now it's hit by Bloodlock, which we can take a look and see what that does. Afflicted by the cursed concoction that seeps into the skin. And clutch at the heart. The creature has a disadvantage on Constitution saving throws and disadvantage on attack rolls. So we'll skip to our turn again.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
And now we can do Soul Bomb. So unfortunately, this doesn't work by targets that can't be moved by force. So that kind of sucks. We can't move a corpse with it.
Lies before me. Should get started.
So there we go. And now it's about to explode here. Let's give it a second. At least I thought it would. Unless we use it again. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So it takes a minute for the Soul Bomb to go off, and that will do additional damage nearby on your next turn. So hopefully that does a pretty good job of showcasing some of the abilities that you can use in combat. I think this is a pretty cool spell pack. I definitely recommend if you want to play as a Necromancer. None of it's really too overpowered, and I think it complements a lot of the other Necromancy spells that are in the game.